You know, maybe as a description, we can, start this video upstairs in your house, then move down a floor and then down a floor and finally end up here, to finish and, do the review.
I like it, but it sounds exhausting.
It does sound like a lot of stairs involved. Welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, what do we have on the bar today?
We have got, bam, Hillrock Solera Aged Bourbon.
So what is that?
Well, it's new to us, is one thing.
Yep.
And
I should point out this was a gift from a friend that we both know. Thank you so much for the purchase. We will enjoy this.
solid cork pop. Look at that big fat cork on it. Cool bottle on this one.
Totally.
Got a great logo, cool bottle. So let's see if is that there just to cover up for for an otherwise not impressive whiskey? Or is it, the whiskey's so good it deserves a great bottle as well?
That's right, presentation.
You're not struggling quite as bad with that as I was. So this is a Solera aged bourbon.
Yeah, let's explain what that is, because I always assumed that just meant like some sort of wine cask or something, like port cask or something, but nothing like that.
So Solera aging is, picture a whole bunch of barrels like stacked or whatever,
in the
if you
rickhouse.
will.
Yep.
The new whiskey goes into one side, and then as the whiskey is taken out of the last barrels, the barrels kind of just refill each other.
Well, it's like a tube connecting all the barrels.
Right.
So as they take some out of the oldest barrel at the bottom, that creates space at the top. They put new whiskey in there, and then it goes all the way through, and who knows how many barrels it ultimately enters, but.
Have you ever seen The Human Centipede?
Have I ever seen The Human Centipede?
Yeah, it's probably a good way to describe how this works.
Well, I think a regular centipede would be a decent description.
Yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never mind.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Anyway, let's get into the whiskey. So anyway, yeah, it just changes barrel to barrel to barrel to barrel as it's going through the aging process.
Okay.
Kind of an interesting.
Sure. So in some ways it's like double oaked, except instead of double, it's 312.
Right, but it's not like fully aged and then put into another.
Yeah.
It just completes its aging process. Now, as interesting as that is, I think you have to have a good product going through those barrels, otherwise
That's a good question.
it's still going to be.
Oh, wow.
Here's what I found.
Thank you, Siri.
Why did your
I must have said something that sounded similar to the activation trigger word.
I'm getting a very, very youthy, crafty.
And a metallic note. And quite honestly, I'm getting a little bit of a latex paint, if I'm honest.
Really, latex paint in particular.
Yeah, and definitely color green.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what color paint are you
course.
getting?
Yeah, definitely green. It's actually similar, now that I think of it more, to Play-Doh.
I'm with you on the Play-Doh note. Green Play-Doh.
And not the philosopher, we mean the toy or the craft material for kids. Very few bourbons actually smell like the philosopher Play-Doh.
I feel like this is gonna come across, like I'm getting that young, kind of standard young craft. What, are you with me on that, or are you?
It's a possibility at this point,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Well, let's go in for the taste here. Cheers.
I think it saves it a little bit. It is younger. It's still missing a few things.
I was gonna say it fell a little flat on the palate. It had better flavors, I think, on the palate than the nose would have suggested, but it was just kind of. So I need to get into another sip here.
It actually came across a little bit.
I'm getting an aftertaste. What is it? Some sort of a fruity. I can't put my finger on it. Interesting. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's really nothing special.
So actually, this is actually a lot better for me. It is very bitter wood forward.
It has a little bit of that, but I'm getting mostly that youthy grain. That's really kind of, but I'm getting a nice kind of cinnamon heat from it too, which I like.
Yep, so that's true. It is very like dry and I don't know anything about the mash bill, but it seems like to me it drinks really high wood influence. Like this drinks like a really well aged. I don't know because of the process, it drinks higher age than it probably is. And it also is a hot, high rye mash bill, I think. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't really know how to describe it. It's not bad. I don't dislike it at all. I feel like, because isn't it like $100? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm kind of, it's one of those ones that I think it's a very fancy packaging, fancy price point for not really a fancy whiskey. Not a bad whiskey.
Well, I would say it is novel. So it's a totally different style of aging, I think.
Yeah.
And I definitely, now that I've had a couple sips, I think I'm getting a little bit more of the interesting character out of it. It does have a couple of aggressive, abrasive qualities. The wood note is very dry and it's way up front. The sweetness is very mellow and it needs a little bit more of that.
This, in a very weird way, is coming across well-aged and youthful at the same time.
Yes,
it's like a youthful whiskey that was infused with that tannic wood, almost like if you added barrel flavoring to a whiskey, because like the grain
kind of what they did. In some ways, that is kind of.
But I don't think that process is that supposed to speed up the aging, because I don't think it would. I mean,
well,
it's still just sitting in a. You're agitating it.
You're agitating it, I think. I think it.
Yeah, but I don't think it really is going to speed it up much. So it's weird. Like the grain flavors haven't been aged out of it enough.
Yep.
Even on a well-aged bourbon, it's nice to have the good grain flavors, but they're not as well-rounded in this. There is like there's a berry note.
So you're onto something.
Finish.
It is coming across very youthful and very well-aged at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it's a weird mix. But there's actually, you're right, it's almost a dark cherry note, which you would get on a well-aged bourbon, but then you're getting the weird youthful corn note. Mm-hmm. The high rye is a little, this is weird.
Assuming it's high rye. It's coming across as high rye to me.
Right, not super high rye, but.
This is another one where every sip you take, it's not that it's changing the flavors, but it's taking the flavors that are there and actually amplifying them.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's getting better and better as I'm sipping it.
Totally agree. I actually really like it, but I feel it is this really would be, if we did a whiskey society event last night.
Yeah.
This would be one to take there and let some other people who are kind of whiskey nerds, bourbon nerds,
try
it and think, what do they think of it? Mm-hmm. You know what, we should suggest a bring your own bourbon night.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would actually be cool.
There's like a berry note on the finish of this that's almost coming across as like a blueberry in a weird way. Like a
raisin.
Yeah, or raisin, yeah. It's, you know what, that's probably what I'm trying to picture here.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking it's blueberry, but it's not really quite that. It's more like a dark fruit. Yeah, I think it's raisin. That's what I was trying to find. I was gonna say, there's a slight blueberry to it. Almost like a fake, like a blueberry cereal, like Boo Berry, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's definitely the raisin note. That's the one that I was getting right away and I couldn't figure out what it was.
This is not a very good YouTube channel, by the way.
No, it isn't. Thank you anyway, though.
So every sip I've had of this, my opinion has increased. And that's a weird position to be in.
It is.
But
I feel like we need to just sit here and kill this bottle.
Well, that's a good idea.
I've got a feeling by the end of it, we're just going to be in love with it. Yeah, interesting. I don't know if I can stand by the price point.
I would agree. It does seem it's a bit
Total raisin on the finish.
niche.
The
It's
blueberry
niche.
is there a little bit, but the raisin, that
Yeah.
was a good call. That's the one I was looking for.
But I actually think this is one of those you put it on the shelf and you think, what do you think of this? This is a pull this out for.
Yeah. Yep, this is a whiskey tasting whiskey. Again, we've had a couple of those recently where we've said, like, it's maybe not a
Everyday drinker.
Yeah, or buy it all the time, always have one on the shelf, but this is a good for...
This is not for the bathtub decanter, I don't think.
No. But not bad. It's just the price point that's kind of hamstringing it for me. So you got to make the decision on that, I guess, if you don't mind dropping $100.
Yeah, totally agree.
Looks give it a whirl. What's the
great.
proof on this? Did we even...
No idea.
46.3, so they had to go weird on the proof.
So I think that's 311, right? I think so.
Yes, that's 311 proof.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, definitely interesting. Gets better and better as you sip on it, so that's good. But yeah, totally weird with the feeling aged, but also feeling youthful. I don't think I've ever had a bourbon that's come across like that.
I think their distilling / aging process is noticeably unique.
Yeah, definitely.
That's their selling point, and I think we noticed it.
Yeah.
I genuinely think we did.
For sure. All right, well, this has been Hillrock Solera Aged Bourbon on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.
At some point, you're going to have to tell me what that's from.
I can't remember. That's the problem.